Welcome, welcome to my fourth, yeah, fourth YouTube live stream. Fourth YouTube live stream. I am dating coach and book author Alan Roger Currie, and this was kind of a spontaneous one, similar to my very first one last Tuesday, a week ago today. As most people know, I did my first, generally speaking, my first YouTube live stream a week ago today. And it was very spontaneous. In other words, I didn't have it planned like a day ahead of time, 2 days ahead of time, whatever. I decided to do that live stream about 30 to 45 minutes before I went on air. This one is similar to that. This one is similar to that. Let me see. Give a few shout. I can't shout out to everybody because it looks like I got 65 people watching me. I see the young brother DJ Kuda is in my chat room. Welcome to my chat room, Kuda. I've been on his live stream like at least 3 times, I want to say, 3 or 4 times over the last year and a half. DJ Kuda does one of them extra long live streams. He does live streams that last like 10, 11, 12 hours. Man, couldn't do it. I give him props for being able to do that. I couldn't do it. Some of it was just related to my age. I couldn't do it. I'd have to take like about 4 or 5 bathroom breaks doing a 12-hour live stream, man. But that's what he does. He does usually like a late night shift live stream. He starts at about 11 p.m. or 12 midnight Chicago time, and it goes for the next 8, 9, 10 hours. Now, Taking God Jets. I'm going to respond to that right now. He says, oh, shit, judging by the title, this is fitting to be a fire topic. Now, to kind of cool expectations of... I'm not beefing with neither O'Shea Duke Jackson or Kevin Samuels. Technically, I never did, much to most people's misinterpretation. I know the people. See, here's what I call true beefing: is if it includes exchanges of ad hominem attacks and personal insults. And in regards to the 2 people I have whose names I have featured in my title, on my end, I technically never beefed with either one of them. Like a lot of people said, oh, Alan Roger Currie and O'Shea Duke Jackson back in 2019, they were beefing. No, we actually were not. At least I'll say not from my end. I'm not going to speak for O'Shea's end. And same with Kevin, I'm not going to speak for his end. But for my end, I never beefed with O'Shea Duke Jackson. What I did was 2 things. And I don't really want to go into too much detail about the past. But 2 things that made it appear like we beefed. First thing, I let him know, and I think it was late March of 2019, that I wasn't going to write for the Negro Manosphere anymore. Up to that point, I had been the top writer on his website, thenegromanosphere.com. And I let him know that I wasn't going to write anymore. I was just getting too busy. And that didn't really lead to anything, any kind of public exchange. And then the second thing that happened, which made it appear like we're beefing, he did a live stream using the title of my book, The Beta Male Revolution, and he didn't clear it with me first. I felt like he should have asked me, like, hey, Alan, is it cool to use the title of your book, The Beta Male Revolution? Because he had done that before. Anytime he thought he was going to mention my name and mention my books, he had always written me and said, hey, is this cool? But in this instance, he didn't. It made me feel some kind of way. And the rest is history. But I don't have any ill feelings towards either one of them brothers. Now, Kevin, yeah, I've had some criticism against him, but I wouldn't call it beefing. And I've done 3 videos with Kevin Samuels. Well, now this will be my 4th. Previous to today, I did 3 videos with Kevin Samuels' name in the title. 2 of them were critical videos, and one of them was actually a complimentary video. That very last video I did on was actually complimentary to him. It was talking about how the strategic way I felt like he grew his channel. And I actually gave him props on that video. Now, the 2 videos I did before that, yeah, they were critical. I didn't necessarily personally insult him, but I just had some pointed criticisms. One, briefly, was Kevin came on YouTube as an image consultant. He would help guys dress better, groom themselves better, all that type of thing. And then in the early part of 2020, he was doing a live stream and he was talking about he did one-on-one sessions with guys, or if either had already done some or was looking to do some that's centered around verbal communication skills. And everybody know that's my number one area of expertise. Everybody know that's my number one area of expertise is verbal communication skills. So again, that made me feel some kind of way. I'll just say it. That's the simplest way of putting it. That made me feel some kind of way. And I did a video about it. Then the second video I did about him that was critical in nature was he interviewed the dating coach Alpha Male Strategies. And they got on the subject of avoiding beefs. And Alpha Male Strategies was expressing some commentary, making it seem like he's never initiated beef with anybody. That only people have initiated beef with him. Almost like he's been like some kind of victim of beef. And I was hot. I ain't gonna even lie. I was hot. I was like, that's some straight up bull. Because anybody who know our history, he initiated beef with me. I never initiated beef with Alpha Male Strategies. He initiated beef with me back in spring, really technically late 2017, but I kind of laughed it off. And then more so in spring of 2018. He initiated beef with me. And Kevin knew that. And that's why I was hot with Kevin. I was more so hot with Alpha Male Strategies. But the part of me that was hot with Kevin Samuels is that he knew our history. He knew our history. I got emails to prove it. He knew our history. And he didn't call out Alpha Male Strategies at all, man. He didn't call them out at all. Even O'Shea, speaking of both of these, O'Shea even criticized Kevin in a live. He did a live stream right after Kevin's interview with Alpha Male Strategies. He took it down since. But he did a live stream. And even O'Shea said, I don't remember his exact words, so I'm going to be paraphrasing, but he said, one problem I had with that interview is Kevin Samuels did not call out Alpha Male Strategies for stealing Alan Roger Currie's talking points from his book, The Possibility of Sex. He said, everybody know that Alpha Male Strategies has stolen a lot of talking points from Alan Roger Currie's book, The Possibility of Sex. And he said Kevin didn't even like mention that. He didn't call him out on that. And yeah, man. So anyway, as of right now, somebody asked me, Alan, what is your status with O'Shea? What is your status with Kevin Samuels? On one hand, I would say I'm not as close to either one of them as I was at one time. I would say with O'Shea, I'm probably not as close to him as I was, say, prior to May of 2019. But we've since had exchanges in comment sections and whatnot. We're very cordial and respectful to each other. So I don't have no beef with him. And as of right now, I don't think he has any beef with me. We're just not as close as we used to be, but we're not beefing. Kevin, I would say I haven't really spoken to Kevin directly, starting with around maybe February or March of 2000. Last time I think I spoke to him directly was about February or March of 2020. since then, no, I haven't really spoken to him, but I'm gonna get into why I'm doing this video. It's not coming from a place of anger per se, but more so from a place of, if nothing else, disappointment. Not from a place of anger, but from a place of disappointment. If nothing else, I feel disappointed. I see Brother Carter in my chat room. I see JR. Okay, JR is kind of getting, well, in fairness, I have to express. I didn't see Kevin Samuels live stream last night. I don't really watch Kevin like other people do. I'm not saying that with an attitude of spite, but I just don't. Among other things, he does his live streams real late, and I got a wife and son, man. I'm not up that late listening to people. I think he starts his live streams at, I want to say, 11 p.m. or 10, somewhere between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. Chicago time. Man, I ain't up that late listening to nobody except for every blue moon. But I got a lot of feedback. That's what prompted this live stream today. Since Jared brought it up, quite a few, not a humongous number, but I'll just say quite a few of my followers and supporters sent me messages this morning basically saying, most of them was asking me, Alan, did you check out Kevin Samuels' live stream last night? Because if you did, I know you're feeling some kind of way about it. And then I had about two guys, they more so referenced O'Shea's. O'Shea did a response video to Kevin's live stream. So I had a couple guys say, did you watch O'Shea? I didn't watch either one. Now, O'Shea's video I did watch. I listened to it because it was only 8 minutes. I listened to O'Shea's pre-recorded video, which was more or less a response to Kevin Samuels' live stream. And I did listen to roughly a 5-minute excerpt from Kevin Samuels' live stream that a follower sent me, like a minute mark. He said, here's 1 minute mark you can listen to, and you could take it from there. I'll get to that and say I want to do a few more shout outs. Excuse me. Shout it out, Brother Carter. I love French toast. Iceberg S, one of my moderators, trusted moderators. Shout out to him. Nicer is in my chat room. I know that name from somewhere. Kiefer is in my chat room. Mo1, baby. Craig Tomahawk is in my chat room. That's my dude. JFC is in my chat room. He called Alan Super Chat Currie. Hey, I love them Super Chats. I ain't going to lie. I love the Super Chats. Joe Blast. A lot of respect for the young brother. He's in my chat room. Amari X18 asked me, Alan, you spoke about a book about your dark side. Is it any good? Yeah, it's good. Where is it? I don't have it near me right now. But yeah, my brother bought it for me. Yeah, it's good. In a nutshell, it's telling you that you can potentially use some elements of your dark side to help you be more successful and productive. But you don't ever want your dark side to get out of control. Oh, here's my dude right here. Lil Rock. Yo. Hey, Lil Rock, what do you think about that Denzel Washington movie called Training Day? Yo. did you think about the NBA championship last year? Yo. What's your favorite food? Chicken sandwiches or a big roast beef sandwich? Yo. I love me some Little Rock. Okay, that's an interesting comment right here. Kevin Samuels is going to have to start mentioning content creators because he's running out of material. Now, here's what I'm going to say real quickly in defense of Kevin Samuels, as far as giving shout outs versus not giving shout outs. Kevin Samuels, at minimum, has given me at least one shout out because one of my followers sent it to me. I didn't know it. I didn't see it. Again, I watched 3 since Kevin started doing his late night live streams, which started with spring of last year, spring of 2020. I can honestly say I've only watched Kevin 3 times as far as the full episode. I've only watched 3 full live streams of his. Since then, every now and then I've watched brief excerpts, like a 5-minute excerpt here, 10-minute excerpt here. But as far as a full live stream, I've only watched him 3 times. The main one I watched from start to finish was when he interviewed Alpha Male Strategies, which was around April. I think that was sometime between April and June of last year. That was probably the #1 live stream of Kevin's that I watched from start to finish. And then there was 2 other ones. I can't remember what the subject matter or the title was. But anyway, there was one live stream where he was talking about sexual attention and companionship versus non-sexual attention and companionship. And I had made mention on a recent video, I said a lot of guys have hijacked that talking point from me, and most of the guys rarely shout me out. Because, you know me, the #1 thing I'm known for, among other things, here on Black YouTube, is people like to tease me. I think even DJ Kuda's in this category. A lot of guys like to tease me and saying the infamous, he stole my shit. People be putting that in the chat rooms. They say, ARC is always like, he stole my shit. Because most of the time, if not all of the time, it's the damn truth. Man, I'm going to just lay it out. When it comes to specific talking point of distinguishing the appeal of a man's sexual attention and companionship versus the appeal of his non-sexual attention and companionship, wasn't nobody in the manosphere talking about that until I did. I was the first motherfucker to talk about that and emphasize that. I triple dare anybody in my chat room now that say they heard somebody talking about that before I came on the scene. I literally not just dare you, I triple dare you. Matter of fact, since we talking about O'Shea included in this, O'Shea interviewed me one time. This was back in spring, late spring, early summer, 2018. We were actually talking about AMS. Basically taking a lot of my talking points from my book, The Possibility of Sex. And I asked O'Shea direct. I said, O'Shea, you've been around for a minute. I said, name another dating coach or PUA or any other type of self-help guru that you heard talk about the talking point of men's sexual attention and companionship versus the appeal of their non-sexual attention and companionship before me. And he thought for a second. He said, I can't think of anybody. That's what O'Shea said. This was back in 2018. He said, I can't think of anybody. He said, Alan, I give it to you. He said, you were the first person that I came across that really emphasized that talking point. Now, I've heard some people say, well, Alan, with all due respect, you can't really copyright talking points. If you a regular follower of my channel, I did a video about that earlier this year. That's actually false. That is actually false. You can copyright. Matter of fact, the whole purpose of copyrights is to protect authors' talking points. Let me repeat that. The whole purpose of copyrights is to protect an author's talking points. Here's what you can't copyright or take ownership of. Here's what you can't I'm going to tell you what you can and what you can't. Here's what you can't copyright or take ownership of if you're a book author, is what's considered general subject matter, general or universal subject matter, a general subject, a general topic of discussion, or a universal concept, universal philosophy, or universal idea. Those 5 things you cannot copyright or take ownership for. A general subject, such as, let's say, feminism. Example of a general subject would be like feminism. No one author can take ownership over something as general as like feminism. Like if I wrote a book that centered on feminism, and then some other author came out with a book that also talked about feminism, I can't say, hey man, I wrote a book about feminism first. You can't write that book. Because I wrote a book about feminism first. You can't write that book. Say that, no, you can't, an author can't take ownership over a general subject. Similar to a general subject would be a topic of discussion. Let's say the topic of discussion was good girls versus sluts, or how to get laid, how to improve your chance of getting laid. That would be considered a general topic of discussion. If I write a book that centers on the topic of how to get laid better, or good girls versus sluts, and somebody else wrote a book about the same thing, one of those 2 things, I can't really say, hey man, you can't write that book about how to get laid because I wrote a book about how to get laid better. That's considered a general topic of discussion. Can't copyright to take ownership over that. And then next to those 2 things, general subject and general topic of discussion would be something that's considered a universal concept, universal philosophy, or universal idea. I'm trying to think of examples of each one of those. Universal concept would be like the concept of low carb diets. That would be an example of universal concept. Low carb diets. You know, you've seen that if you pay attention to diet books. There's a bunch of people who got low carb diets, even though I consider Robert Atkins, author of the Atkins diet, to me, he's the godfather of low carb diet advice. He's the godfather of low carb diet advice. But so those are the 5 things you cannot copyright as an author or a freelance writer. Here's what you can copyright though. What copyright protects, let's say the subject is feminism, and I have my own unique thoughts, my own unique beliefs, my own unique way of expressing myself on the subject of feminism. That would represent my talking points, my unique and individual talking points. What the U.S. Library of Congress calls it is your unique manner of expression on a given subject or a given topic. You cannot take someone else's unique manner of expression and just pretend like it's yours. That's considered one of 2 things. That's considered plagiarism or copyright infringement when you do that. So for those people who say you can't copyright, yes, you can. If you don't believe me, get in touch with the U.S. Library of Congress and they'll tell you. They'll explain it to you better than I can. That any subject, again, you can't copyright or take ownership over a subject or a general topic of discussion. But when it comes to your unique manner of how you express your individual thoughts, opinions, beliefs, assertions, philosophies on that subject or on that topic of discussion, that's what you have ownership over. So in other words, let's take the subject of how to get laid. Anybody who writes a book, who's an author, self-help author, can write a book on how to get laid. But if I've already expressed some very unique thoughts and opinions and beliefs and assertions and philosophies on the subject of how to get laid, you can't just duplicate my shit. You cannot just duplicate my shit. You can duplicate the general topic, But when it comes to the manner in which I express myself, you cannot express yourself just like I do. If you do, that's when you put yourself in a position for me to sue your fucking ass. Get it? Got it? Good. But I was saying that, I think I was on the topic. I said, yeah, the specific topic of sexual attention and companionship versus, man, I popularized that. I wouldn't go as far as to say I invented it, but I popularized it. No, nobody was really, before I came on the scene again, as most people know, in summer of 1999, mid-May of 1999. As far as in the internet world, that's when you could say officially came on the scene, was in mid-May of 9, because that's when I released my first ebook version of Mode 1. And when I was on AskMan.com, that used to be in my top 3 most frequent talking points, is men's sexual attention and companionship versus their non-sexual attention and companionship. And I'll get more into that in a second. Okay. I saw another Bangani Matswini. I don't know what ZAR means. I don't know what that translates into in US dollars, but I'm appreciative. Hey, if it translates into $1, I'm appreciative. Thank you for she says, Mo 1. Cashmere Black, Chris Hansen in my chat room. Low Cast, I see in my chat room. RC should be teaching a class to young dudes in single mom families. This is where we get shit twisted. Okay. Interesting suggestion. Here's another super chat. Josh Timsey, $4.49. That's Great Britain. Shit, that money is more more valuable than the US dollar, sad to say. Always has been for a number of years. Yeah, the British pound is much more valuable than it. Man, I was in London in 2010. I accidentally handed someone some American money. Man, you should have saw this cashier. He looked like I was handing him a napkin with poop on it. He was like, oh. He was like, don't want that. I don't want that. I was like, oh, my fault. I got another envelope with my British money in it. He's like, basically like, yeah, give me the British money. I don't want none of that dirty US money. Yeah, the British pound is more valuable than the US dollar. I always pay. I'm not in recent years, but because I have a degree in economics, for a while I used to always pay attention to that. Like an average of like once a week, I would pay attention to if the US dollar was increasing in value or decreasing in value compared to other countries' currencies. Because if you plan on doing a lot of international traveling, you want to keep up with that. Because you don't want the dollar to ever become so weak that you can't really, yeah. As an American, I never want the value of the US dollar to be weak. Coach EO gives me $20, man. He says, salute to a legend, respect. Respect back at you, Coach EO. Coach EO gave me a lot of props and respect when I did my first live stream a week ago. And I appreciated that. And, B-Money. B-Money, I got to give you somewhat of an apology. I was looking at the replay of my last live stream. And normally I shout out a super chat at the time I receive it. But you sent one super chat of $20, and I was so busy talking. I did put it on screen, but I didn't acknowledge you in your super chat at that time. And I apologize for that. Because anybody who's giving me money, I don't care if it's $1, I want to show them appreciation. Then you sent a second super chat of $5 for a total of $25. And that's when I did finally acknowledge you. But I wanted to let you know, man, that, I was too busy running my mouth to give you, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I don't believe it. R. Kelly said Obsidian, Bumi Obsidian Ali said his book is better than all ARC books combined. I know Obsidian. Obsidian ain't that stupid to say nothing like that. He definitely ain't that stupid to say nothing like that. So I'm not gonna believe unless you send me a link with an audio clip of him saying that or a video clip of him saying that. I would never believe he said that. I think you're just trolling, trying to start some shit. Because there ain't nobody in the manosphere who would be stupid enough to say that any singular book of theirs is better than all my books combined. They would be retarded. Quote me on that. Quote me on that. Anybody in the manosphere, worldwide or black manosphere, that would be stupid enough to say that, I would literally categorize them as retarded. And I don't even like to use the R word. Ain't nobody got a single book better than all. Since we talking about O'Shea in this, at least briefly, O'Shea once called all of my books the gold standard for their respective subject matter. This was back in the late 2017, early 2018. We were having a private conversation. He once said, I was frustrated over a combination of haters and copycats. Haters and copycats. I've told this story a few times. But yeah, in that conversation, I never forget, O'Shea said, man, you got to get used to both. He was basically like, you got to get used to people hating on you, and you got to get used to people attempting to copy a lot of your talking points, because he said, your books are the gold standard. Your books are the gold standard. He said, Mole 1 was the gold standard for direct verbal game. He said, Who Said Again was the gold standard for developing verbal seduction skills and erotic dirty talk skills. He said Possibility Sex was the gold standard for anti-simping. And he said Beta Male Revolution was the gold standard for helping men understand why women react and respond differently to alpha males versus beta males. So anyway, all that to say, man, Obsidian wouldn't be that stupid to say nothing like that. Nobody in the manosphere would be that stupid to say anything like that. Nobody. And plus Obsidian, that would make him look stupid to say that. You know how much in the past that Obsidian has sung the praises of at least 2 of my books? He loved the Possibility Sex so much, he wanted to do a book signing for it. He wanted to do a book signing for that book. He loved it so much. And he loved the Beta Male Revolution. So I would never believe that he would say his book is better than those 2 books when he wanted to do a book signing for at least one of them 2 books. I read Obsidian's book. And I'll leave it at that. I read Obsidian's book. And again, I'll leave it at that. I think somebody trolling started trying to start shit between me and Dada Saints. Yeah, I don't believe Obsidian said it. I'll defend Obsidian. I don't believe he said that. I can't see him saying that. And I don't sound like something he would say. Indie Radio. Hey, Indie Radio. I know Indie Radio. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. What's up, Mel? Mel is one of my trusted moderators. Jeremy Warner, another trusted moderator. Jay Shine Randoms. Oh, he giving me, I think that's euros. That's another currency that's, I want to say, is more valuable than the dollar. He says, the first time I heard the term Beta Male Revolution was from ARC. Unfortunately, he was right. Genius. Yeah, that's right. That's another thing, man. I had not too many people, but do you know a few years ago, back in like 2017, 2018, some people thought the Beta Male Revolution was just kind of like a general manosphere term. They thought that was just a general manosphere term. No, I created the Beta Male Revolution. That phrase, I created that phrase. That wasn't no just general manosphere phrase or term. I created the Beta Male Revolution. And I had some people that start using it as if it was like, I'll tell you somebody, I'm going to call him out by name, but he apologized. So that's the reason why I don't mind calling him by name. I tell you, the first time I've had 2 run-ins with the young brother Stefan Klinkskills, goes by Steffens Cole. And I remember one time he was going to do, I think it was either late 2018 or early 2019. He was going to do a live stream. It was titled Steffens Cole will answer your questions related to the beta male revolution of today. And one of my followers had told me about it. I saw that, and I wrote Steph. I said, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And he was basically like, what? I said, dude, that's my shit. What are you talking? What are you doing? How can you answer questions about my book? How? How can you answer questions about my book? And he was like, oh, that's your shit? I was like, yeah, that's my shit. You didn't know that? And that's when he started apologizing. He said, oh, man, I honestly, ARC, I thought the beta male revolution was kind of like just a part of the manosphere, like just general terminology in the man, similar to like MGTOW or something like that. I didn't know that was, your shit. I said, no, beta male revolution is my shit. I created the term, the beta male revolution. And then he was like, and he apologized. To his credit, he apologized. He said, oh, my bad, man. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. He said, my bad. And as you know, we had that incident kind of twice. I mentioned on another video. The one other situation I had with Steffens Cole in that same area was my phrase, no free attention. He thought no free attention was just kind of a general man. I said, nah, bro. I brought no free attention into the manosphere. I brought no free attention into the manosphere, man. That ain't no general manosphere phrase or philosophy. That's Alan Roger Currie shit. In my book now backs that up. That's why I changed my rewrite of The Possibility of Sex. I did a rewrite, as most people know, late last year. And instead of keeping the name The Possibility of Sex, I actually changed it to No Free Attention. And I explained in the book why I did that. It was mainly because I was tired of people trying to rip my shit off, man. I mean, that's just been an ongoing thing ever since I've been on YouTube, man. It's people trying to take my shit and present it as if it's their shit. Okay. Some of these names I'm not familiar with. Eric Archer, I'm familiar with that name. Goku Black, I'm familiar with that name. Okay. All right. Wait, how do I get some more? B Money says, RC, IDX recently hit me up for investment information. I just ignored that chick thanks to The Possibility of Sex. She monkey branched for me to a dude she thought had money. Okay. All right. Kudos to you. Here's where I'll start. Again, this was not a pre-planned live stream, but a lot of times, and it's been going on ever since I got on YouTube, and I want to give a shout out to my longtime followers, supporters, clients, Patreon subscribers. Here's what they do. Here's how you can say they look out for me. A lot of other people's content creators, podcasts and live streams, a lot of them I don't pay attention to. And if I do, usually maybe occasionally. Like I already mentioned, like Kevin Samuels, I've only watched 3 of his live streams starting with like March of 2020. I don't watch Kevin unless somebody brings the attention to me that he might have mentioned something that's directly or indirectly related to me. And that goes for a lot of other YouTube content creators, and more specifically, Black YouTube content creators. A lot of people's stuff I don't watch unless they got a title. I see a title on my homepage that I feel is relevant to me, or if one of my followers, supporters, or Patreon subscribers, like, since I've already brought his name up, Alpha Male Strategies. The first time I knew Alpha Male Strategies was copying my shit was because of my followers and supporters. I had quite a few guys who were following both him and me. And I started getting all these messages, guys saying, hey man, Alan, man, you need to be look out for this dude, Alpha Male Strategy. This is back in spring 2018. I was like, what's up? That's like, man, this dude is taking almost all your talking points from your book, The Possibility of Sex, man. I mean, like, we ain't just talking about one or two talking points. He's pretty much verbally ripping off your entire book. The Possibility of Sex, which is two versions of The Possibility of Sex. But my original version came out in October of 2012. And but yeah, how I first found out that AMS was ripping off a lot of my time is from my followers. They would send me notes, sometimes with links, and they would say, man, this dude is like just ripping you, and he ain't shouting your name out. He ain't mentioning your name at all. Now, I've had, in his partial defense, I've had some other people that have said, Alan, AMS has at times shouted you out for two of your books, both The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution. I knew about the Beta Male Revolution. He actually did one time in spring of 2018. AMS once did a whole live stream promoting my book. I don't know if it was a pre-recorded video or live stream, one or two. But he did a whole episode on his channel singing the praises of my book, The Beta Male Revolution. So I give him that. And some guys have also said there's been times, he might not do it on a regular basis, but there's been times when AMS has given you a shout out for both of those books. But anytime when it comes to my, what I'll call my ARC copycats, my followers are the ones who tell me about it. And here's where some kind of potentially ironic has to come up. Something potentially ironic. Guess who was one of the guys back in 2018 and 2019 who used to alert me to people who were basically copying my talking points without giving me my proper credit attribution? Kevin Samuels. I got the emails to prove it. Kevin Samuels. In 2018 and 2019, Kevin Samuels was one of the number one people who used to alert me to people who were biting off of my talking points or some of my personal philosophies or some of my signature phrases and slogans without giving me proper credit attribution. But this morning, I received a few messages from guys. They say, Alan, by chance, did you check out Kevin Samuels' live stream last night? If not, you need to check it out because it might, some portions of it might leave you feeling some kind of way. Then I had at least one guy, he just went ahead and broke it down instead of encouraging me to watch it. He just gave me his assessment. And that's what this one follower of mine said. He said, Alan, he said, I was watching Kevin Samuels last night. And I wouldn't go as far as to say he just was flat out stealing your talking points. But as this fellow put it, he danced around a lot of your philosophies and talking points without ever shouting you out or shouting your books out. That's how this one fellow put it. He said he danced around. I see super chats. Ray Heroes, thank you so much. It's more of that valuable pound money. Love those pounds. And Cashmere Black, I appreciate I appreciate all super chats. As y'all know, I'm not going to go into full detail, but as y'all know, that very first live stream I did a week ago today, man, I got emotional at the end because I was receiving super chats. But yeah, this one follower, he basically said, this is how he put it. He said, on one hand, I won't go as far as to say Kevin Samuels just blatantly ripping you off per se, but he said he was talking about a lot of stuff that relates to both your Mode 1 book and your Possibility of Sex book. He kind of was dancing around it without mentioning your name or the titles of your books. And he said, I just found that interesting. Again, in fairness, I didn't watch his live stream. I did watch about a 5-minute excerpt. The 5-minute excerpt I watched, this is what he was basically saying. He was telling, now everybody knows about my 5 archetypes of women. I'll start there. Everybody knows about my 5 archetypes of women. Reciprocators, rejectors, wholesome pretenders, erotic hypocrites, and manipulative time wasters. And Possibility of Sex and No Free Attention are my books that center around the archetype of a manipulative time waster. In short, a manipulative time waster is a woman that's not interested in being your wife. She's not interested in being your long-term girlfriend. She's not interested in being even a short-term, non-monogamous, casual sex lover of yours. But she knows how to pretend like she's interested in you in order to take advantage of one or two things. She will pretend like she has some degree of romantic interest in you or strictly sexual interest in you in order to either take advantage of your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, or to take advantage of your financial resources and material possessions. That's a manipulative time waster. And since I came on the scene, a lot of guys have tried to mooch off of that archetype. Now, see, I created that archetype. That one archetype that was already just out there generally in the manosphere. I created the archetype of the manipulative time waster. 3 of my 5 archetypes I created myself: wholesome pretender, erotic hypocrite, and manipulative time waster. Now, I've noticed some of my copycats, what they'll do is they'll drop the word manipulative so it won't look like they're just blatantly ripping me off and just call women time wasters. Now, actually, in the excerpt I watched with Kevin Samuels, I think I did hear him say time waster once, but he was more so calling women time thieves. That was the phrase he was using. What I would call manipulative time waster, he was calling women money thieves and time thieves. That's what he was calling women. He was calling women money thieves and time thieves. And he was talking directly to the women, basically saying his main message to women was, you should never agree to go out on a date with a man if you don't have genuine intentions of having sex with him. That's what he was basically saying in a nutshell. His main message was, women, you should never agree to go out on a date. He said definitely 2 or more dates. I think he gave a pass for 1 date. But he said, if you agree to go on 2 or more dates with a man, if you agree to go on 2 or more dates with a man, then it should be because you have a genuine interest in, number 1, becoming sexually intimate with him at some point, and you have genuine plans on either becoming that guy's next long-term girlfriend or short-term casual lover. Now, I'll tell you, based on the excerpt I listened to, where he was similar and where he was different from me. Even though I've generally talked to members of both genders, I mainly talk to men. When it comes to dealing with manipulative time wasters, only occasionally do I basically direct my message at women and say, hey, women, you need to stop being a manipulative time waster. You need to stop being a manipulative. I've done that occasionally, but generally I don't talk to the women. So that's one area where you can say Kevin and I are different when it comes to this talking point. What I do, my main message is more so to men, is that men, you need to be very direct with women, i.e. mode one, and letting women know that the reason I'm even asking you out on a date is because I want to fuck you. Now, me, I'm a little different. I'm a little different, and most of my longtime followers know. When it comes to casual sex, I don't even invite women out on dates. When my objective is casual sex, I have never, ever taken a woman out on a dinner date, lunch date, breakfast date, movie date, whatever kind of date. I don't take women out on dates if I know ahead of time my objective is casual sex. Never, ever. Starting with the age of 22. Never, ever. So that eliminates me from being taken advantage on a date for a woman that I want to have casual sex with, because I don't take women out on dates. I just let women know I want to fuck them, and they, in one way or another, say yay or nay. Now, I have taken women out on dates if I looked at a woman as long-term girlfriend material or future wife material, like my wife, my current wife. I took her to see The Lion King. The first date we ever had, I took her to see the movie, the remake of The Lion King. But yeah, for casual sex, I don't take it. So I mainly talk to the men like, hey, if you mow one, you'll be able to identify a manipulative time waster even before you go on the date. See, when you mow 2 and mow 3, you're not going to find out until after the date is over that a woman was just basically looking to use you for flattering attention, entertaining conversation, and a free meal. Yeah, if you mow 2 and mow 3, you're not going to find out until after the date. See, with mow 1, you would find out before the date. Now, as far as for the portions of his video that I did not see, but I heard about, and I browsed some of the comments in his chat room. I mean, not chat room, comment section. Here's where I did get a little irritated, man. Here's where I'll openly admit I got a little irritated. And it's not the fault of Kevin. Well, maybe not a little bit. But I saw a lot of guys giving him credit for my message. I saw a lot of guys in his chat room, I keep saying chat room, comment section, giving him credit for philosophies and talking points that I originated. Like guys, a few guys were saying, oh man, Kevin Samuels is the best. He's encouraging us guys to be direct with women so that we don't get played by women. Man, nobody else talks about this. This is why you got to give Kevin Samuels his props. Nobody else talks about this? Are you kidding? Fucking kidding me? Nigga. I hate to use the N-word like that. Nigga, I'm the king of that shit. That's why my nickname is the Godfather of direct verbal game, knowledge, wisdom, and advice. Drops mic. I was the first one in this bitch to talk about that. And you want to give credit to him? With all due respect to my fraternity brother? Man, get the fuck out of here. Now, again, Kevin don't have control over what people say in his comment section, so I'm not throwing all the heat on him because people going to say what they want to say. But see, where I'll put at least partial blame on Kevin, this is what happens when you don't give me the proper credit attribution during the live stream that I deserve to have. You got guys in his comment section saying, I read where at least one guy, he said, nobody else is giving out this type of advice and information. I'm thankful for Kevin Samuels because nobody else is giving out this type of advice and information. And I looked at that, I was like, you know what I was like? Where is my shit? Since the inception of what's now known as the worldwide manosphere, wasn't nobody giving out advice to prevent you from getting played by a manipulative time waster before me. I triple dare you to name somebody. God damn it, I triple dare you to. I literally triple dare you to. Like I was just on the young brother Bernard Riley, who gave me a healthy super chat my very last live stream. I was on his just last week. He did a topic related to, giving game. It's called Game Matters. And we was talking about a lot of things. I was dropping a lot of history of the formation of the worldwide manosphere. And I forget how we got on the subject, but we got on the subject of copycats. And I said, one of the problems, among other things that I have with, excuse me, that was a burp, with guys who are copycats who don't shout me out, is that they'll have people thinking they're the originator of that slogan or that talking point or that philosophy, that way of thinking. And I gave a specific example. I'm going to have to bring up his name again, but I don't give a fuck. Alpha Male Strategies, man. Do you know, like right now, I have just over 300 Patreon subscribers. And approximately 100 of my Patreon subscribers, current Patreon subscribers, are guys who used to follow AMS. They either used to follow him exclusively or they used to follow he and I, and now they exclusively follow me. You know what the number one reason why they told me that they initially didn't like me so well? Number one, some of the guys said they didn't even know who I was. They were like, some guys, they flat out told me, they said, Alan, honestly, I didn't know who you were, man, in like 2018 or 2019. I didn't know who you were. Like I heard of AMS before I heard of you. So that's one thing a lot of guys told me. And then the second thing they said, because when somebody comes to me as a client, Patreon subscriber / client, and I do say Skype consultations with them, one of the first things I'll ask them is, did you follow another PUA or dating coach before me? And they'll usually tell me, the specific names of who they follow. And of all the other dating coaches mentioned, AMS was by far the number one name I had guys mention. Again, I'm talking about like roughly 100 guys, man. I would say, who did you follow before me? And they would kind of smirk most of the time, look down. And then they say, I know you're going to get mad at me, RC, but before coming to you, man, I used to follow AMS. And I'd be like, oh, that's not a surprise. And here's what they were going to say. A lot of guys. They would say, man, Alan, can I tell you something? I said, what? They say, man, a lot of the stuff you emphasize in your book, The Possibility of Sex, man, honestly, man, I thought all of that was alpha male strategy shit, man. And I said, yeah, I know. They was like, yeah, man, he talked about just about everything you talk about in your book, The Possibility of Sex. Alpha male strategies used to talk about on his pre-recorded videos, his live streams, his private videos. He would talk about a lot of shit from your book, but he wouldn't mention your name. And then I had other guys would tell me about you, and then I got either your ebook or your audiobook. And when I listened to your audiobook, I was like, damn, AMS done stole all this nigga shit. AMS done stole all this nigga shit. They was actually mad at me because I hadn't sued them. They said, man, if I was you, and I told him and I explained, I don't want to get a long explanation, but see, most of his stuff he stole from me, he repeated it on video. And if you go to a lawyer, they're going to be like, you got to handle that shit through YouTube. See, lawyers only going to suggest taking it to trial if he's blatantly repeating and regurgitating shit word for word or close to word for word in book form. In book form. possibly sex. I thought you were stealing from AMS. Ain't that a hoot? They thought the originator was stealing from the copycat. They thought the originator, me, was stealing from the copycat. Until they got my book, Possibly Sex, and they saw that. See, this is why copyrights are important. That's why copyrights are important. Because that's what made them realize that I wasn't copying. Because they saw that my book was copyrighted in 2012. Alpha Male Strangers was nowhere around in 2012. He didn't come on the scene until 2018. And that's what broke it for them. They was like, once I saw that copyright 2012, I was like, oh, AMS been copying off of Ellen Roger Currie instead of vice versa. But again, initially, these guys thought I was copying off AMS. Uh-oh, I missed some super chats. DeMac the Trucker gave me $5. I got my tripod. Pair character doing a classic. I don't know what that means. I don't get it. Pair character? What is, you gonna have to explain that to me? I see Kay Zaggin in my chat room. What's happening? I see another super chat by Beast and Earth. That's them. You use the word. You use the word I use quite a bit. Johnny come latelys, man. Johnny come lately, man. I'm being honest, man. A lot of these younger dating coaches and PUAs, man, would fall in the category of Johnny come latelys, meaning that they weren't around before roughly 2016. That's when the first year I started seeing a lot of younger dating coaches, particularly more specifically younger black dating coaches just popping up out of nowhere, was starting with 2016 and even more so 2018 and 2019. Because for a while, man, that was only about, I want to say about 4, no more than 5 dating coaches who were in some way associated with the manosphere. Before these later years, like I said, I came on the scene in 1999. 2000 was when I first heard about Tariq Nasheed. 2001, I crossed paths with Ron Wills. 2006, I crossed paths with Stevie Dean Williams. And then in 2009, I crossed paths with Lucario. So I say between 1999 and 2009, the only black dating coaches I really know about was Tariq. He didn't call himself a dating coach. He called himself a game advisor, which you could say is similar to a dating coach, but that's what his title he would give himself. Same Ron. Ron didn't initially call himself a dating coach. He just called himself a brother with some strong opinions about today's dating scene. And then later he kind of transitioned to call himself, a dating coach. But initially he used to call himself a brother with some really strong opinions on today's dating scene. Even Steve the Dean. When I first connected with him, he was known as a sex coach. Some people say that's probably similar to a dating coach, but his official title was sex coach. He used to have a lot of videos about helping men, once they got a woman in the bedroom, what to do once you got her. Like how to kiss her the right way, how to lick her pussy the right way. He even had a lick your booty video, how to lick booty video 1-on-1. But his specific title was more of a sex coach for men. And then he transitioned to dating coach. And then Lucario, again, I ran it. But yeah, a lot of guys didn't come on the scene until I would say roughly 2016 and later. 2016 and later is when I start hearing about a lot of, as Beastly Nerd put it, Johnny come latelys. See another super chat. Oh, B Money. I don't want to miss another B B Money, thank you for that $5 super chat. He says he should definitely attribute where he borrow his talking points so his followers can get it from the horse's mouth. Cold Steel. Wait. What is this is the second time I've seen this pair character. What is pair character? What is pair? Somebody explain that to me, man, in the chat room real quick. Oh, somebody, JR said he didn't know that Tariq used. Yeah, before Tariq started being like a pro-black community activist, he used to basically, for all practical purposes, be a dating coach. He used to be, oh, okay. It just means a mic drop. I didn't know that. Pair character mic drop. Okay. Yeah, Tariq, before he transitioned into being more of a pro-black activist, he used to be a dating coach. I first heard of Tariq, I want to say summer or fall of 2000. Somebody told me about his book. Whatever his very first book, I think it's called The Art of Macking. I want to say that came out in summer or fall of 2000. That's when I first heard. After I came on scene, that was the first black guy who was essentially a dating coach I heard about. And then I heard about Ron Wills in like August or September of 2001 was when I heard about Ron Wills. So he was the second guy I heard of. Third guy I heard of was Steve Dean Williams. And then the fourth guy I heard of was Lucario in 2009. No, there was one more in that time frame that I heard about. One other black dating coach was Justin Wayne out of New York. Justin Wayne out of New York. He was around at that time during that same, between like say 1999 and 2009 was Justin Wayne. Justin Wayne has had a lot of controversial shit though. I ain't gonna go into details. I've did at least one video on him. You can look at my archives. Justin Wayne, it relates to that whole guys wanting infield videos. I'm not gonna get into details, but Justin Wayne got in trouble for that shit. He had to leave the country because of doing infield videos, which I've always said in the United States are illegal. You cannot secretly film yourself and tape yourself talking to people, talking to women without them signing some kind of waiver form. If you don't have a woman sign some kind of waiver form, man, they can sue you. A lot of people don't know that. If you do it, what a lot of conventional people promote these infield videos, you cannot upload an infield video without having the woman that you're in the video with sign what's called a waiver form. If she don't sign a waiver form and she just arbitrarily finds out that she's up on some website talking to you, she can sue you. Just to ask Justin Wayne. He did that with a woman whose father was a rich attorney in Manhattan, and that attorney was about to sue the fuck out of Justin Wayne. Was about to sue the fuck out of him so bad, he left the country temporarily. He left the country. Justin Wayne, he had to leave the country to avoid being sued by that woman's rich attorney father. You can't just be taping conversations and put them on a website, particularly for commercial purposes, for purposes that's going to lead to you making money. No, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. So anyway, then I saw a couple guys going back to Kevin Samuels. So wait, first let me recap my attitude about Kevin and then move on to O'Shea shouting out Kevin. Yeah, I only watched a 5-minute excerpt of his live stream. In the excerpt I watched, what he was basically telling women, he was referring to women as money thieves and time thieves. And he was basically telling them that you should never agree to go out on a second date, third date, fourth date, fifth date, 2 or more dates with a man if you ain't genuinely trying to give him some pussy. He said, if you do, you stealing that man's time and you stealing that man's money. Now, to ask the question, has Alan Roger Currie ever expressed his philosophy of manipulative time wasting using those exact words? No. So you couldn't accuse Kevin of, say, verbal plagiarism, because I've never expressed it just like that. When I'm talking about money thieves and time thieves, I call it simply a manipulative time waster. So I wasn't that 5-minute excerpt I watched. It didn't get me upset. But then the two things that got me upset, again, some people said he was promoting the idea of being direct. To me, anytime you bring up direct and you don't mention my name in some kind of way, it's like, man, come on. I was the first nigga talking about direct in this bitch. I triple dare you to name anybody else before me. That's why literally my nickname is the Godfather of direct verbal game, knowledge, wisdom, and insight and advice. That's my nickname. So for him to be promoting direct, I just felt I was disappointed. I ain't go as far as say angry, but if nothing else, I was disappointed to hear that. What the closest thing that got me angry though was a few guys' comments in his comment section. They were saying, again, at least one guy, he made the comment, man, props to Kevin. Nobody else is giving out this type of advice and information about preventing yourself from being played by these women who just want you for your money and your non-sexual attention. Man, more people should be given. And I'm looking at that comment like, what, nigga? What did you just post? I would have bitch slapped this dude if I would have even been a person that said that in my presence. And then O'Shea, he did basically a response video kind of echoing a lot of Kevin's sentiments in his live stream. And I saw some of the same comments in O'Shea's comment section. Not too many, but I saw at least 2 or 3 comments in O'Shea's video where people in the comment section giving Kevin all these props for talking about this, like he's almost like the originator of this talking point. And I'm like, what? Now, I didn't hear anything egregious in O'Shea's video, but that's why I started off this live stream by saying a lot of stuff didn't make me angry, but it left me disappointed. I'm not going to suggest that O'Shea in his video was obligated to somehow give me a shout out or give a shout out to my book, The Possibility of Sex or No Free Attention. But I was disappointed not to hear my name. I'll just say that. If nothing else, I was disappointed not to hear my name. But what I was more irritated, not disappointed, but irritated by it was some of the comments I saw in O'Shea's comment section where, again, guys were treating Kevin almost like he's the originator of this whole discussion. No. Now, here's where I will say I'll defend both O'Shea and Kevin in saying that they're different from me. It seems like both of them, see, they were basically talking to women. They were essentially telling women, you women should be ashamed of yourselves for being a manipulative, what I would call a manipulative time waster. You should be ashamed of yourself, and you should stop doing that. See, I never come at women that way. And I know a lot of guys want me to, and I have occasionally, but generally speaking, I put the onus on the man because he has control over his own behavior. I put the onus on the man. My attitude is telling the men, this is why you need to be more one with women so that they don't even gain the opportunity to be a manipulative time. See, when I'm more one with women, women don't even have a chance to be a manipulative time waster with me. They don't even have a chance. Number one, again, for casual sex, I don't take women out on dates, ever. Never have, starting with the age of 22. I've never taken a woman out on a dinner date, lunch date, breakfast date, movie date, concert date, none of that shit when I knew my objective was casual sex. For casual sex, I ain't never, ever, ever taken a woman out on a date. I let women know I want to fuck them, and then I proceed to talk dirty to them, either face to face or over the phone. I get them to play with the pussy via phone sex, and then we end up fucking. That's how Alan Roger Currie rolls for casual sex. Now, for women that I looked at as long-term girlfriend material or future wife material, yes, I have invited women out on dates. So I put more onus on the man. That's what separates me from their message. I see another super chat. Francesca Drago. Wow. Is that my biggest today? That's either my biggest super chat to date or my second largest super chat to date since I started doing live streams. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Francesca. Says a small tribute to your wife from another stay-at-home. A woman gave me a large super chat. Wow. I feel like Sally Fields at the Oscars. They like me. They really, really like me. Yeah, that's either my largest or at minimum my second largest super chat starting with last Tuesday. See what JR had to say. It's annoying when you know what you have gone through to gain this knowledge. ARC got threatened with it just like me because of our adventures messing with ARC went through. Yeah, you hit. I'm gonna have to wrap up soon because I got a consultation with a client in about 20 minutes. I remember one time, this was way back in 2019, the young brother who goes by the pseudonym C Boogie. He was interviewing me, and it was me, him, and one other person. I can't remember who the other person was. But C Boogie had one of the best examples. Well, no, I said it on his show, so it wasn't him who gave the example. I gave the example, but he co-signed with it. We got on the subject of people basically being an ARC copycat, and I said, it's like this, man, related to JR, because see, my knowledge, wisdom, and insight comes from my personal experiences with women. And I know for a fact nobody's had the exact same experience with me. They might have maybe had some similar ones, but they didn't have the exact same one. Anyway, I told C-Book, I said, imagine if I was a guy who drove from Chicago to Los Angeles and back 20 times, a minimum of 20 times. And I wrote a book about everything I experienced driving from Chicago to Los Angeles and back those 20 plus times. And I had all this detailed information in the book. And then somebody else comes along and reads my book and just takes parts of my book and starts repeating and regurgitating it. But that person, either one or two, they either never made that trip from Chicago to Los Angeles and back, not even one time, or at minimum, they might have made that trip, but only maybe one or two times when I made it 20 plus times. But yet they're hijacking my talking points from my book and presenting it like it's their original shit, and people are paying them for their book. And C-Buggy was like, man, I feel you. He's like, basically, you ain't got to explain to me. I feel you. I was like, imagine how you would feel if that was you. Because my attitude is, if you had the exact same experience as me or very similar experience as me, and you got a passion about talking about the knowledge, wisdom that you gained from those experiences, then what fucking took you so long to start talking about it? Drops mic. I've been talking about this shit since the 80s, man. I was was on Oprah Winfrey talking about direct verbal game in February of 1987. Drops mic. Why did some of these guys wait to 2017, 2018, 2019 to start talking about a lot of this shit that's basically copying my shit? Where were they in 2015? Where were they in 2010? Where were they in 2005? I'm seeing if I missed. Did I miss a super chat? Ace of Spades, thank you. Hey, if I missed one, please let me know. Now again, somebody said, what did O'Shea say? Neither one of them said anything negative about me. So I want to make that clear in case before somebody misinterprets it. Neither one of them said anything negative. I started off the live stream basically saying, I'm not so much angry per se, as much as I am disappointed. And just to put it in simple, blunt terms, first in relation to Kevin Samuels live stream that he did, that I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched like a 5-minute excerpt. But given the nature of what he was talking about, now in his defense, I said this early in this live stream and I'll say it again. In his defense, he has given me a shout out before. A follower of mine sent me a link to a live stream where he was talking about sexual attention and companionship versus non-sexual attention and companionship. And he said, shout out to Ellen Roger Currie. I saw it with my own eyes. So I could never say that Kevin has never shouted me out, because he has. He did say on at least one live stream that I saw, he was talking about sexual attention and companionship versus non-sexual attention and companionship. And he said, shout out to Ellen Roger Currie. No, I think he shouted me out twice. Another time he was talking about my archetypes. You know, I have 4 archetypes of men. Total alpha male with beta traits, beta male with alpha traits, and total beta male. And there was another last year I saw, he gave me a shout out in respect to that. He was talking about those 4. He's talking about alpha male with beta traits. And he said, shout out to Ellen Roger Currie. He sure did. He said, shout out to Ellen Roger Currie. So Kevin Samuels has given me, I want to say, at least 2 shout outs before. But on this video last night, as far as I know, my name didn't come up, or the title of my book, The Possibility of Sex. And honestly, I just feel like it should have. I'm not saying he was legally obligated to give me a shout out or to mention the title of my book, but I just feel like, given the nature of that discussion, if only for like 15 seconds, I feel like my name and the title of my book, The Possibility of Sex, because as O'Shea himself said back in late 2017, 2018, again, we were having a private discussion. He called all 4 of my books the gold standard. The gold, and specifically Possibility of Sex, he called that the gold standard for anti-simping. The gold standard for anti-simping. So if somebody talking about anti-simping and not being a simp and not spending on money on women who are not going to give you no pussy, how can you not bring up my name in that book? How can you not? Unless you just hating. Because like those Patreon subscribers I decide, most guys, if they're not familiar with me now, as I speak right now, they're going to soon become familiar with me. And once they see that my book was copyrighted in 2012, they're going to like, I give you a perfect example of somebody in this category. Even though I have a lot of philosophical disagreements with this young brother on a lot of things, but he gave me my props. Ramil Amir. Last year, Ramil Amir did a video, a live stream, called Why Ellen Roger Currie is the GOAT. He called me the GOAT. It was called Why Alan Roger Currie is the GOAT of all dating coaches, not just black dating coaches. He called me the GOAT of all dating coaches in the worldwide manosphere and the black manosphere. And here was the interesting thing. Him giving me that title of the GOAT, the greatest of all time, wasn't even based on all of my books. He said in the last year, he just based it on 2 of my books. Like this, I'm slightly paraphrasing words, but this is what he said. He said, just based on 2 of ARC's books, I call him the GOAT. He said, like Mode 1, I read Mode 1. I didn't agree with everything he said in Mode 1. He said, I'm more of a Mode 2 guy. He said, I'm actually more of a Mode 2 guy. So there was a lot of things I disagreed with him in Mode 1.
I'm reminding you, advice session with client.
That's my reminder woman. Yeah, I got to wrap up.
I'm reminding you, advice session with client.
Hey, Alexa, who is Alan Roger Currie? I just like to do this.
According to Wikipedia, Alan Roger Currie is an American dating coach, self-help author, motivational speaker, and YouTube personality. He has written advice books on dating and interpersonal relationships, verbal communication skills, identifying various manipulative mind games employed between the genders, seduction, erotic dominance and submission, and engaging in erotically explicit dirty talk with women.
Thank you. Ramil Mir, he said, yeah, I read Mode 1. I didn't agree with a lot of things in it. He said, I didn't even read Who Said It Again. I never read it or listened to the audiobook, Who Said It Again. I don't know. He said, I don't know nothing about that book. He said, that's what he said. He said, just based on ARC's book, The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution, he said 2 things. Number one, he said, I'll give him the title of the GOAT just based on those 2 books. He said, forget the other books. Just based on those 2 books, to me, he's the GOAT. And then he went on to say, he said, I used to hear ARC honestly bitching a lot about people copying off of him. And, he stole my shit. I used to kind of laugh at him. And honestly, I'm slightly paraphrasing his words, but he said, honestly, I thought ARC was kind of making a big deal out of nothing. He said, then I got The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution. He said, everybody in the manosphere owes Alan Roger Currie a debt of gratitude. Everybody. This is what Ramil said. He said, everybody in the manosphere owes that man a debt of gratitude. He said, man, after I read The Possibility of Sex and the Beta Male Revolution, I was like, all these niggas copying his shit. That's what Ramil said. He said, all these niggas copying his shit. All these niggas copying his shit. He said everybody needs to be giving that brother his props, his respect, and his flowers while he's still alive. He said, because all of y'all, he even went into, he took it far. And since I don't get along with Rollo anymore, I don't care about repeating it. He even attacked Rollo. He said, I'm going to go as far. He said, I'm not just talking about black guys in the black manosphere. He said, even a lot of these top-notch white guys have stolen from Alan Roger Currie. He said, man, Rollo Tomasi. And everybody went, ooh, you talking about Rollo? He said, hell yeah, I'm talking about Rollo Tomasi. He said, man, if you read Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male, it ain't exactly like The Possibility of Sex, but you could tell he was influenced by Alan Roger Currie's book, The Possibility of Sex. He said, I dare somebody to read both books and tell me he wasn't influenced by The Possibility of Sex. Drops mic. So I appreciate Ramil for calling out like that, man. Yeah, he gave me love, man. He said, man, everybody should be giving this brother his props, his proper credit attribution, his respect, and his flowers while he's still alive. He said, Ramil was like, hating ass niggas, they'll hate on you up until you die. And then when you die, they'll be like, hey, man, I actually love Alan Roger Currie, man. That was my dude, man. Yeah, man. I love that dude, man. Yeah, me and him was real close, man. Yeah, I love that dude, man. Sorry that he got hit by that bulldozer. I shouldn't be joking about that, God. Cancel that out. Now that I got a son, I can't be joking about that. But anyway, I'm about to wrap up. So yeah, my simple thing is now, Sonny, I don't like this. I just blocked you. Don't talk about Romeo. I have my disagreements with Romeo, man, but for you to call him a nothing and a nobody when he gave me all that love and props, man, he was telling the truth, man. He was telling the truth. So you can't comment in here. Goku Black say reminds me of Muhammad Ali. Everybody hated him when he was a boxer. When he retired, everyone loved him. Matter of fact, my frat brother wrote a book about Martin Luther King. I didn't know this till a few years ago. It might have been when my frat brother Tavis Smiley wrote a book about. Basically, Tavis Smiley wrote a book saying the same thing about Martin Luther King. Do you know in the last few years before Martin Luther King got assassinated, a lot of brothers and sisters had turned on him. They didn't like him. They thought he was too soft. Some brothers and sisters would call him a coon. They felt like he played up to white people too much, particularly white politicians. Felt like he played up to white politicians, that he wasn't hardcore enough like Malcolm X. And then after he died, everybody started, doing nothing but show him love, man. Anyway, man, that's my thoughts. Here's my 1997 version of Mode 1. I pointed this out on a video before, man. And I said in here, man, 1997. This was my first copyrighted version of Mode 1. And for guys say, oh, Alan, Mode 1 ain't nothing but a get laid quick book. Yeah, ain't nothing but a get laid quick book. No, not. You need to read this 1997 version. I'm going to read this excerpt I already read on another video real quick. It is the excerpt from 1997. It says, Mode 1 behavior is primarily a defensive strategy for preventing women from manipulating you, wasting your time, taking advantage of you financially, and leaving you feeling used, angry, pissed off, and egotistically frustrated. Yep, that's from my 1997. And I point that out to say that I've had guys try to argue with me. Imagine arguing with a book author about what his book is about, or the number one motivation behind his book. People, not too many, but I've had a handful of people that have tried to argue with me about a book I wrote. They say, oh, Alan, the number one motivation for Mode 1 was a how to get laid book. No, it's not. Mode 1 is not actually a how to get laid book. The closest thing I would say I have to a how to get laid book is my book, Who Said Again. Who Said Again is more or less my how to get laid book. Mode 1 is a book about being an extra real, extra authentic, verbally bold, and straightforwardly honest dude in terms of your verbal communication skills, so that manipulative time wasters will never be in a position to take advantage of your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, and taking advantage of you financially. So all I'm going to say, I'm going to sum up on this note. If, wait, did I block the wrong, wait, I think I might have blocked the wrong person. I'm sorry. Yeah, I blocked the wrong, I'll unblock it later. This is the person I meant to block. Yeah, but that's what I'll say, man. If guys are in both O'Shea's comment section and Kevin Samuel's comment section, treat him like he's the first one to talk about what basically amounts to manipulative time wasters, then that shows me I still got a lot of work to do. And I'm going to do it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the super chats. If I, by accident, missed one or two super chats, I apologize. And right now, I got to get ready and help a client out. Because enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And until next time.